Here we have the start of the Vietnam campaign game. The U.S. Has used 30 points of commitment to give a little bit of a bump to the South Vietnamese forces and to bring in about a division and a half positioned mostly into the southern region of the country. We start with an immediate threat from the north to the Quang Tri province. You can see that there are VC units on patrol between Da Nang and Quang Tri that will prevent the Marines from moving up at the start of the special operations segment to defend. Essentially, the South Vietnamese forces at the ARVN in Quang Tri will have to defend themselves, at least at the start of operations, or might get the benefit of U.S. air power, which we will see here in a little bit. In the middle of the country, we have very light Vietnamese forces, South Vietnamese forces. You can see that most of the South Vietnamese are ineffective, and several of the regional capitals or provincial capitals are lightly garrisoned, and that's going to come into play later. As we proceed south into the Delta region and Saigon, the bulk of the American forces deployed. We have American forces here in Can Tho, and we've got a small deployment of the 173rd here in Bien Hoa. As we start, the North Vietnamese assign operations in the north before the Marines can react to Quang Tri. But the U.S. Declares Quang Tri a free fire area, and the North Vietnamese army pauses and halts the offensive rather than attack into the teeth of 6 American air points. There's a little bit of shuffling at the beginning as we optimized the setup and the activation, but you'll see this for a moment. We do a little bit of adjusting of the air points available as well. And here come actually at this point the North Vietnamese, the NLF, have decided not to attack, but to use their activation to shuffle their units around. Now they're marked Ops Complete, and the NLF decides to conduct the next operation as well. They do the same thing, but the U.S. responds in exactly the same way. 6 more air points out of their precious 23 available. And the NLF then move a VC unit, hidden VC unit, and an NVN regiment around. And finally, we paused to begin in another file, which I'll load in a moment.